of our kids are going to help us get started with worship this morning. And for the rest of us, the kids would love it if you would also participate as best you can. So the songs, a few of the songs here are going to have some motions to them, high energy. And so here's a couple things. One, the motions will be on the screen. So if you want to participate in the motions here, you're welcome to do that. Two, if the motions are too complex, you can just keep it right here. You can just keep it right here. That's all you need to do. Just right back and forth. That's fine too. No judgment here. And then, but I will give some instruction as we go as to the motions. And so the first song we're doing this morning is called "Something Good," and basically it just starts. We're just going to start by clapping, and then moving side to side. So everyone's got that. And then it gets a bit more complicated as we go. At one point, we're gonna do like this little motion right here where you come forward and you put your hands up and then we come back and hands up and we come back. And see, it's really back and forth. And then let's see. There's the most important part. It says, you are always, and then we're going to get our shoulders into it a little bit. We're going to do back and forth a little bit, up to, and then when we get to something good, we're going to take our fist, put our foot in the air, and give a kick like that, and then we're going to do a backflip. No, not the last part. Everything up to that part, we're going to do. But the kids are going to lead us this morning, and so everyone go ahead and stand up. Like I said, whatever you're comfortable with, that's what you can participate with this morning. Okay? All right. Just let's do that first one there. And we're gonna do a couple more. The next one's not quite as jumpy, but still some motions to it. The next one is called Beautiful. So the words at the beginning, we're just gonna clap. Very, very simple. There's different people on the screen. We're gonna follow the guy. It's a little confusing, but that'll make sense here in a second. That you made the earth, you keep it spinning. On spinning, we're just gonna spin our hand like that. Simple. It says you made the ocean. We're gonna do the arm right there, like for an ocean. And then everything in it. Everything in it. You made the sky. So we're gonna do the sky. You made the sky so blue. And you made every other color too. And on this one, and there'll be some other motions, but at one point it's going to say, I just wanna, I just wanna, I just wanna. And then you just point to yourself, I just wanna, I just wanna, I just wanna. You get that part, and don't get the rest of it, that's fine. You're doing great. You're doing great. So Tristan, let's play this one. This is called Beautiful. This last song, it's kind of a classic. If you grew up in kids' church, it's called Superhero. Jesus is my superhero. And you'll see it. You'll figure out the motions. Jesus is my superhero. And then a couple points we're going to say better than Spider-Man. So do your best Spider-Man. Better Spider-Man. And then we're going to do Superman. So do your best Superman. And then better than Batman. We're just going to kind of turn to the side. Hands right there. Give it a glare, maybe. But that's it. That's it. And you'll catch on to the rest. All right, Tristan, you want to play that one? He's the one who makes the sunshine. He's the one who puts the moon in the sky. He's the one who hung the stars. give our kids a hand one more time. I want to read from Matthew 21. It says, the blind and the lame came to him at the temple. They came to Jesus, and he healed them. But when the chief priests and the teachers of the law saw the wonderful things he did, and the children shouting in the temple courts, Hosanna to the Son of David, the religious leaders were indignant. Do you hear what these children are saying? They asked him. Yes, replied Jesus, have you never read, from the lips of children and infants you, Lord, have called forth your praise? The religious folks, they got upset. The kids shouting in the temple. And of course, it was about what they were shouting and like what they were shouting. But I think whatever they've been shouting, and sometimes adults come in a place like that, it's like, shh, kids, be quiet. But Jesus said, he quoted from Psalm 8, he said, you, Lord, have ordained it from the lips of babies and children to worship. And there's something about, like, as we get older, we get all propified. That's not a real word. I make that up. But we want everything to be proper, and so we're concerned about what people think. But kids, they haven't quite learned to guard their actions yet, to the chagrin of their parents at times. Like, don't act like that. But they haven't learned, and they don't worry about what other people think. They can just worship. They can lift up their voice. They can dance. They can shout. And so today we say the children lead us. And we're going to transition just a little bit. We're going to continue to worship. But I would encourage you, just even now, I know it's been chaos and loud and dancing. But would you close your eyes for a moment? And what would it be like for you to worship as a child? I think back before maybe you were jaded about life, about the church, about Christianity maybe. Think back to when you weren't carrying the baggage and the hurt and the pain. And you just had a confidence in God. And you could cry out and you could lift up your voice. Maybe you've never experienced that. But as the team leads us today, would you consider the child and how they worship? Let it encourage you in your worship to be free. Lift up your hands, to sing aloud. So I'm not going to do a normal sermon today. In just a moment, we're going to switch it up. We're going to do some games, a Bible lesson. It's going to be a lot of fun with the kids. But there may be a point where the kids get a little bored. We've got a goodie bag here, some different things, a little snack in there. So the kids, they're in a meet and greet. You guys can come and grab one of these. They're all the same. So you can grab one of those. And some of the adults are like, can I get one of those? No. Cannot get a goodie bag. So let's take a moment, let's greet one another. We'll continue in just a moment.
follow Jesus, and build an economically and racially diverse church. We're glad that you're here if you're a guest or if you're family. If you're a guest, we'd love to get to know you more. Meet us at the Connect table in the foyer on the way up. We have a brief Connect card we'll ask you to fill out, and we have a cool water bottle. Make sure to stay hydrated. No service next Sunday. Next Sunday, we don't have a service or a microchurch. One Sunday during the summer, take a break from service to get ready for the fall and for the upcoming school year. No service next week, but then we'll be back here for the next week. Join us for the annual guys camping trips next weekend. You can come one night or 2 nights. Make sure to RSVP. There is a ladies' brunch next Sunday at City Park. They'll be meeting between 17th and the Big Lake in a nice big shady spot. More details are online, including a map. Don't forget to RSVP. Who likes ice cream? If you are a young adult, Monday, August 14th is the final ice cream tour night. Meet us at Nugs at 7 p.m. Young adults, college age through early 30s or so. Welcome to the Hills Church.
Thank you, Britt, for helping out. I did have to pay him. Well, welcome to the Hills Church. Today is a little different. Usually we ask the kids to come into an adult space, and today the adults are moving into a kids space today. In just a moment, we're going to have our Bible lesson. We're going to play some games and do some other things. But just before we do that, I want to share an opportunity with you that we have to minister to kids right here in Hallett Elementary. And also, if you don't live near here, we've got people in the neighborhood, but also folks who don't live in the neighborhood. There is an after-school tutoring program called Whiz Kids, and they're in schools all around the metro area. But Hallett is starting a brand new after-school tutoring program with Whiz Kids, and I've invited Whiz Kids, Dan Utley, to come and share with us a few moments about Whiz Kids. So Dan, would you come and share with us this opportunity?
Thank you, Matthew. I appreciate the opportunity to come here today and see your wonderful church. I absolutely love the energy that I saw today, just seeing the kids and the adults worshiping together. It seems like a great body of believers. Can you guys hear me okay? Yes. Okay. Well, good morning, church. It was 2 years ago that my wife and I first went to a presentation a lot like this one and made the decision to join Whiz Kids as volunteer tutors. The truth be told, my wife was the one who signed us up, and I kind of drug my feet and eventually caved in. But it was, even though my decision was semi-lame, it proved to be one of the best decisions I ever made. We absolutely love the Whiz Kids organization. So, just a little background. Over the years, there have been a variety of studies that show a connection between reading proficiency levels in elementary school and ultimate graduation rates at high school. And depending on the study that you read, it goes something like this. And I'll quote from a study by the Annie E. Casey Foundation. And it says that third graders who are not proficient, unless a third grader is proficient in reading, they are 4 times more likely to drop out before graduating high school. Which is, that hits me in the heart. That's a significant number. In addition to that, if those same kids are also experiencing poverty in their lives, then their graduation rates absolutely plummet. And so, with a heart to step in at this critical time in a child's educational journey and do something about it, Whiz Kids was created. So for the past 33 years, they offer free tutoring to students in reading and math, elementary age students throughout the Denver metro area. And this is weekly help from October through April, and it's primarily in reading and math. With that said, Whiz Kids is way more than just tutoring. The fact that each volunteer tutor is paired up with just one student throughout the course of the year, there's a natural opportunity for a really strong mentoring relationship. And during my first year, I could testify to seeing what that mentoring relationship, the impact that it had on the student that I was with. And so with that said, I'd like to introduce you to Jose. This is my guy. I love this guy. He was known in our group as the Energizer Bunny because he would bounce off the walls from time to time, but I really enjoyed my time with him that year. Having said that, in the first several weeks, he was really hesitant to dig into anything, especially related to math. And my take on that is, here's this stranger entering his life, and I already know that I'm behind in math, and I just don't want to highlight that. And so it was hard. But as he began to get comfortable with me over time, I saw him open up, become more engaged, and really made a lot of progress. I became a safe person to him to raise his hand and say, well, what about this or what about that? And so we saw progress academically, but on a number of other fronts as well. Let me catch up to my notes here. So beyond that, the third component of WizKids is club time. And in club time, it's really a fun and interactive time for the kids to get some energy out. It's kind of like what I just saw here this morning, a lot like that. And then wrapped around that is a message about Jesus and how much he loves and cares for each of them. For me, this was an incredible part of each session. To see kids begin to grasp and take hold of these golden nuggets of truth about God's love for them and still want to learn more was awe-inspiring. And so, because I was so impacted, I was actually asked to lead club last year. And I don't know if I have the same energy level as Pastor Matthew. I'm a little more reserved, but I stepped up. You know, God can use anybody. And so, as the club leader, I was so blessed to be able to lead this amazing group of kids in a prayer of salvation. And for me, it was the earnestness of their prayer, the sincerity. It wasn't just going through the motions, but God was meeting these kids that day. And the entire group of adults was really impacted in a major way. And also, you know, take into account that a lot of these kids come from families that are unchurched. And so for several of them, this was their opportunity to hear the gospel. And so that was, the best way to describe it for me, it was truly humbling, and I felt very privileged just to be a part of that night. So, with that said, I made a decision, and with the support of my wife, Michelle, I decided to carve some time from my career, actually. My background is in finance and a lot of left-brain type of work, and so this was like unfamiliar to me to jump into this, but I had to be a part of what God was doing, and so I now joined the staff in a part-time role. And so the opportunity that's here today is born out of earlier this summer meeting with Matthew and kind of dreaming about the possibility of a site here at the school, partnering this church with the students at Howell. Later on this summer, I was able to connect with Principal Dominique Jefferson, who's just this amazing Christian with a tremendous vision for kids here at the school. And she's absolutely thrilled to be partnering with us to create a WizKids site that we are in the process of putting into place. So in order to make that happen, bottom line, we need tutors. We need you. In order to have this site operate well, we need 15 tutors to volunteer. I also have other sites around the area, and without my ability to find and recruit volunteers, we'll have up to 30 kids who need help go without that help this year. And so we're really looking for volunteers. So it's a simple process. You can use the QR code here to apply. It's an easy way to do it. The other way is to come out after the service. We've got a table set up. And I would be thrilled to just meet you, have a conversation, answer any questions you might have, and explore whether you'd be willing to partner with us to make a huge impact in the life of a child who really needs it at this time. So, look forward to chatting with you after the service. Thank you.
Let's see. All right, we're going to give it a shot. So the commitment for WizKids, they want to have a program here, but they're looking for a team. And then it's once a week, right? One afternoon a week, right after school. So what time would it? Like around 4 o'clock usually? 4 to 5:30 would be the commitment once a week. On Tuesdays. There you go. So Tuesdays, once a week, from 4 to 5:30. If that's something that you think that you can fit into your schedule, we would love to partner with Hallett, with Miss Jefferson here. She is a phenomenal principal and leader, and what a great way for us to be part of the community is through WizKids. Now, today, we are taking a little different trajectory from our normal, but I do have a big idea, and this is for all of us today. Our big idea today is true friends are faithful. True friends are faithful. And when we talk about faithful friends, there are two guys. Well, hold on 1 second. They're not back here, but there we are. All right, kids, look up here, all the kids, and adults too, right there. True friends are faithful. That's what we're talking about today. There's two guys in the Bible who were great friends, a great example of what it means to be faithful friends. One, his name was Jonathan, and Jonathan was a prince. He was going to be the king. His dad was the king, and Jonathan was a pretty important guy. Like, he was, wherever he went, he was tops in the kingdom. And there was this other guy, and I say guy, he was probably a teenager when they met. His name was David, and David was not so important, didn't come from an important family. In fact, in his own family, David wasn't important. Like, everybody was like, where's David? Oh, he's out with the sheep. He was a shepherd. But David became more important. He became a warrior, and David and Jonathan became friends. And instead of me, well, here, I'll read one scripture, and then we'll watch a short video about Jonathan and David. So this is from the Old Testament, 1 Samuel 18. It says, Jonathan became one in spirit with David, and he loved him as himself. That just means they were really good friends. They were really good friends. They cared for one another. From that day, Saul kept David with him and did not let him return home to his family. And Jonathan made a covenant with David. A covenant. Now, a covenant is like a promise. It's kind of like a pinky promise. Right? But the pinky promise of all pinky promises, like, it is a promise that you could not break. It was a covenant. It was like, I don't know, what's the greatest type of promise you can make in the playground? That was it. Well, we're going to do it, but yeah, I mean, that was when I was growing up, right? That's where was that? He made a covenant because he loved him as himself. Verse 4 says Jonathan took off his robe he was wearing. Remember, it was probably an expensive robe. Again, this was the prince. And he gave it to David, along with his tunic, and even his sword, his bow, and his belt. So instead of me telling you to describe it more about it, check out this brief video of David and Jonathan.
This is David. And this is Jonathan. David and Jonathan were best friends. Their friendship was so famous and so strong, it's written down in the Bible. David and Jonathan had a lot in common. They were both young guys who liked doing stuff outdoors, like running around in nature and target practice with slingshots and bows and arrows, and listening to music. Well, at least David was into music. See, as a shepherd boy, David got famous for defeating the giant Goliath. As he grew, David won battle after battle for his nation Israel. David was even anointed, or specially chosen by God, to become Israel's next king. Oh, no way! And people even made up a song about David that went something like this.
I've heard this song.
Yeah.
The king's killed 1,000, but David's killed his 10,000.
You might think everything just goes super smoothly for David from there on out, but the story is a little more complicated. See, the guy who was currently ruling Israel, the king mentioned in that song, was King Saul, and he was kind of paranoid. King Saul knew God had picked David to be the next king, so every time David was around, Saul got nervous. Like, seriously nervous. And to keep an eye on David, King Saul brought him into the king's palace to play music on a lyre, which was a kind of harp. At least 2 times while David was playing music to help King Saul calm down, out of nowhere, the king grabbed a spear and threw it at David. Both times, Saul missed. And both times, David ran for the hills. Literally, he ran to the hills to hide out in caves. Dark, stinky caves filled with scorpions and snakes and other nasty stuff. To make all this even more complicated, Jonathan, David's best friend, was King Saul's son. Yep, that's right. David's most powerful enemy was his best friend's dad. Like Spider-Man and the Green Goblin. Kinda. But the friendship between Jonathan and David never failed. In fact, it got stronger despite the challenges. As a symbol of their friendship, Jonathan gave David all his princely armor. Jonathan was basically telling David,
I can't fight you, man. You're like a brother to me. I love you.
that's in the Bible. Well, kind of. It says Jonathan loved David as he loved himself. Basically, Jonathan was willing to do anything for David. That's how strong their friendship was. But David was still in hiding, so Jonathan had to sneak away to see him. David said,
What have I done wrong? What is my crime? Why is your father trying to kill me?
Jonathan knew David was innocent, and also that his father, the king, was kind of nuts, so they made a plan. The next day, the king was throwing a huge party. Jonathan said, Go and wait by that hill. I will go to that hill and shoot these arrows as if I am shooting at a target. Then I will tell my servant to go find the arrows. If everything is fine, I will say, You went too far. The arrows are closer to me. Come back and get them. If I say that, you can come out of hiding. But if there is trouble, I will say to the boy, The arrows are farther away. Go, get them. If I say that, you must believe. The Lord is sending you away. Remember this agreement between you and me. The Lord is our witness forever. Sure enough, the day came, and it wasn't safe for David to return. So Jonathan aimed, fired his arrow, and called out,
The arrows are farther away. Hurry, go, get them.
David knew what that meant. He came out of his hiding place just long enough to say goodbye to Jonathan once and for all. David promised Jonathan that no matter what happened, David would protect Jonathan's family for as long as he lived. Jonathan said,
Go in peace. We have taken an oath in the Lord's name to be friends forever.
Eventually, King Saul and Jonathan both died. Years later, when David was finally king of Israel, David remembered his promise to his friend Jonathan. David even adopted Jonathan's son, Mephibosheth, let him stay in his palace, and always made sure there was a seat for him at the king's table. Seriously, you can read all about this in the Bible in 1st and 2nd Samuel. Jonathan and David were friends, so they were loyal to one another and even risked their own lives for their friendship. And it wouldn't be the last time a friend was willing to lay down their own life to save someone they loved. A little while later, God would send someone to be the ultimate friend who would lay down all the power in heaven and on earth for the ones he loved. And I can't wait for you to hear that story.
That was David and Jonathan. Remember, our big idea is true friends are faithful. Everyone say it with me. True friends are faithful. And David and Jonathan were true friends. They were loyal, they were faithful, they were always there for one another. They looked out for each other's interest, even when it put themselves in harm's way. And it's just the best kind of friendship. So if you have a good friend, touch your nose. If you have a good friend, touch your nose. There you go. If you are a good friend, touch your head. If you are a good friend to somebody, you're a good friend, touch your head. Very good. So let's think of the ways that you can be a good friend. Think of ways that you can be a friend. The school year is about to start. And some of us have jobs that we go to all week. There's maybe some friends there, different places where we have friends. But think of ways for a moment in your own mind, ways that we can be good friends. Maybe it's sharing your toys, depending on how old you are. Maybe it's giving a hug. Maybe it's playing with a friend. Maybe when you're playing with a friend, being a good friend means you do what they want to do instead of what you want to do. That's a good one. That's a good one to do. You can talk good about your friend even when the friend isn't there. Like maybe there's some other friends and they're saying some things that aren't nice and your friend's not there and you can stand up for a friend. That's being a true, faithful friend. Another thing you can do to be a good friend is you can pray. You can pray for our friends. I have just a brief book that talks a little bit about that. And it's called God Bless My Friends. So the words will be up on the screen, the pictures will be on the screen. It's just a simple book. It's a reminder of God bless my friends. So here we go. It says, whenever I can be with you, that's when the fun begins. On days we play, I love to say, God bless my greatest friends. My favorite thing is playing ball. God made you born to run. We're not alike, but that's all right. Our differences are fun. There's a big adventure up ahead. This needs to be explored. We romp and stomp, we jump and tromp. With you, I'm never bored. I couldn't get from here to there, no matter how I tried. You came to play and save the day. How about another ride? I've got a spot that's just your size, a cozy quilt to share. Let's go to sleep all soft and sweet. We make a snuggly pair. I need an itty-bitty boost. I'm just a tad too small, but it seems we're a perfect team because you're a tad too tall. God gave you dark and fluffy hair. He made you pink and curled. You're not like me, but I still see my best friend in the world. Let's have a snack. We love this stuff. Each piece seems huge to me. You go ahead and have the most. My belly's full with 3. Today, when I was feeling sad, you came and made me smile. My sweetest friends bring happy grins. Please stay and play a while. That's God bless my friends. So we've been sitting for just a while. I need everyone to, if you wouldn't mind, stand back up for a moment. And we're going to do our Bible verse together. We're going to learn our Bible verse today. This might be taking you back a few years, a few decades for some of you. Learning our verse of the day. I'm going to put it on the screen here. And it is 1 Samuel 18:1. It says, Jonathan and David became close friends. Jonathan loved David just as he loved himself. So this is what we're going to do. When we say that part, Jonathan and David became close friends. Everybody repeat after me. Jonathan and David became close friends. So when we do that part, we need to turn and shake someone's hand. All right, we're going to have some motions here to help us remember, so go ahead. We're going to say that part and shake someone's hand. Jonathan and David became close friends. Turn and shake someone's hand. Close friends, there we go. All right, that's the first line. The second line, and what we're going to do, as I think of this in 3 phrases, even though it's really only 2, and each of them start with J. So we've got 3 J's. Jonathan, and Just. So Jonathan and David became close friends. Jonathan loved David. Now for this line, you could either give a hug, or if you just want to do knucks with somebody that makes you more comfortable, that's okay. We're all on a journey here together. So, second line, Jonathan loved David. Give someone a hug or give them knucks. Jonathan loved David. There we go, everybody. And for the last part, there we go. For the last part, Jonathan, just as he loved himself. Now, so we're going to say, just as he loved himself, and you're going to give yourself a hug. Just as he loved himself. All right, so from the top, everybody, here we go. We're going to go straight to it. So we're going to shake someone's hand, give someone a hug, and then hug yourself. All right, we got it. Here we go. So we're going to try to say it all together, all at once, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Jonathan and David became close friends. Jonathan loved David just as he loved himself. Good job. Have a seat. But we're not done. I don't think we've got it quite yet. So here's what I'm going to do. On the screen, if you can see it, we're going to take off a few words. Here we go. All right, so there's a couple words missing. On the count of 3, we're going to say this again together. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Jonathan and David became close friends. Jonathan loved David just as he loved himself. Pretty easy. Let's bump it up one. Let's take off a few more words. We're getting tricky here. Okay, all right. I've got the verse here. I'm going to try not to look. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Jonathan and David became close friends. Jonathan loved David just as he loved himself. Not bad. Here we go. Let's take off a few more words. Okay. How we doing? It starts with, remember, all the J's. Jonathan, just. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Jonathan and David became close friends. Jonathan loved David just as he loved himself. All right, last one. Boom, you knew it was coming. You can do it. Remember, Jonathan just. All right? 1, 2, 3. Jonathan and David became close friends. Jonathan loved David just as he loved himself. You guys did better than me. Give yourselves a hand. Now, Christmas is only 141 days away. Oh man, that's good. 141. So listen, one of the things I love about Christmas is that we have like 4 or 5 boxes that we get out from storage, from where they're gathering dust all year long, and we get out the same decorations. We get out the same ornaments. We get out the same Christmas hats. We get out the same nativity scene. And one of the cool things about Christmas and the holidays is for a couple weeks out of the year, some of you are like, couple weeks, 3 months. No, well, that's too long. A couple weeks out of the year, we decorate our homes, and there's just like this comfort from putting up the old decorations. And there's this one ornament that we have. There's a me when I was like 5 or 6, kind of goofy looking. The teeth were a little, they're coming in, they don't quite fit your face yet. And I wanted to show it to you, but I couldn't find it. But I did find an ornament of my young son, Britt. I found his from when he was young and goofy looking. Oh, look at that guy, right there. But you put up ornaments, and you're like, oh, it takes you back some memories, and there's some comfort from Christmas and putting up the same decorations. Now, as comforting as decorations and ornaments are, one thing that we can count on day to day, week to week, month to month, is a true friend. True friends are people that we can count on all the time. Remember, what's our big idea? True friends are faithful, right? True friends are faithful. Proverbs 17:17 says, a friend loves at all times. And so if you have a faithful friend, I'm going to wrap up here in just the next couple minutes if our worship team can come back. Prepare as we close out today's service. So if you have a faithful friend, you should let them know. Like, hey, thanks for being a good friend. Faithful friends, they don't come into our lives very often. Having good friends, especially as we get older. And so it's important to remember our faithful friends, to say thank you for being a friend. And God wants us to be faithful friends. He wants us to be the type of friends that are faithful to the, not necessarily to everybody, but there should be 2 to 4 friends in our lives who we are close with, the type of friend. Like, we should be the type of friend who doesn't keep a scorecard. Because sometimes we do that in friendships. Sometimes we keep, like, I did this for you, what have you done for me recently, and then I did this for you, and what have you done, and we keep a scorecard in friendship, and that's not good. And if something good happens to our friend, let's say our friend gets a promotion. Let's say our friend wins a competition. Let's say our friend makes the team, and maybe we don't make the team. And our friend gets recognized for something. A good friend rejoices with those who rejoice. And a good friend also, when our friend is having a bad day, when our friend is going through a hard time, a faithful friend is sad. It sits beside the one who is sad. A true friend is a faithful friend. And I'm sure we've all had a friend that's let us down. Maybe there was somebody at recess that we played with all the time, and a new school year happened, and all of a sudden, like, they found a new friend, a new group. You're like, hey, what about me? A friend let us down. Maybe you had a friend who said something hurtful. Maybe they were your friend when things were going well, and then when you really needed a friend, they weren't anywhere to be found. They just kind of left you hanging. And we've all experienced friendships like that. And if we're honest, there's been times where we have been the unfaithful friend, the friend who hasn't been true, the friend who hasn't been there like we should have. But we're not perfect. And our friends, they are not perfect either. But a true friend loves it at all times. And there's only one friend you will ever have who will never let you down. A friend that you can count on every day, 24/7, 365 days a week. There's only one friend like that, and that is Jesus. Jesus is a true, faithful friend, and he will never let you down. He will never let you down. In the Gospels, Jesus had some followers, they became his friends, and he said, "You are my friends." And then he said, "There's no greater love than this, that a friend would lay down his life for another." And then Jesus showed us how much he wanted to be our friends by dying for us on the cross. And we can always trust Jesus to be a faithful friend. Now, most Sundays we conclude our time together with communion, and my plan was to do communion, to have communion today for families to share communion together. However, apparently there is a shortage in the supply chain of communion, and I've been trying for a couple months, and the last I checked, it was almost here. It was in Commerce City yesterday morning. I'll have several boxes probably in my house this afternoon. So we will not be able to have communion together. We're waiting for it. But I thought we could still take a moment. Just invite everyone to close your eyes. Adults, kids, our young folks, our older folks. And we do communion almost every Sunday because we forget. We forget what God has done for us. We forget what Jesus did for us on the cross. And so we need to be reminded every week of God's great love for us, of his sacrifice for us. And we break the bread and we drink the juice as a reminder of Christ's body that was broken so that our sins could be forgiven, so that we can walk with God again. As we just take a moment and thank God in your own words for the friendship that we have with God, or maybe there's a friendship in your life that's a special friend, like someone who's been there for you, someone who has walked with you. Just take a moment and thank God for them. And then take a moment to ask God, say, God, how can I be a good friend to someone? Be a good friend to someone. Maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's a coworker, maybe it's a classmate. School is starting in a couple weeks. Maybe you're nervous, you're going to a new school. You haven't seen your friends in a while. And so maybe you can pray, God, help me to